Lovely. I'm just going to pop you on. I know you popped yourself on mute. Lovely. So we are going to start seated. I would like us to spend a bit of time before we start moving doing a bit of breath work, though. I know that can be quite tricky to go straight from kind of your usual day-to-day straight into we're going to be still and breathing. So if there's anything you want to get out of your system before we go there, absolutely do it, whether it's maybe some kind of circling of the center and the core. Maybe you just want to have a bit of a wiggle, shake everything out. Maybe it might be quite nice just to do a bit of a fold and to walk around your mat. Whatever it is you want to do, just to get rid of any kind of energy or tension before we kind of come to stillness. So there's nothing particularly yogi that you need to do, nothing fancy, just moving, getting anything kind of out of the body that we want to get out before we start to gradually find stillness. Do excuse the blanket, I will remove it once I warm up a bit. So maybe moving a bit in the head and the neck in the center, maybe through the hips. It might even be that you just want to give your feet a quick little bang out before we sit down. Lovely. So we'll all look a little bit different, and that's fine because we've all had very different days, moved in different ways. I'm going to suggest maybe you give your feet a bit of love and attention before we come to stillness, maybe taking the heels of the feet, giving them a nice little massage with the thumbs, that can be nice. Moving up to kind of the balls of the feet, anything that feels good. If you're up for it and feet don't particularly gross you out, then maybe you can kind of bring one foot, interlace the fingers into the toes, give yourself a little bit of a wiggle, a little massage of the foot, just to really bring some loving attention to our feet today. We are going to be doing some standing poses, so we want them to be feeling strong and energized. So giving ourselves a bit of care, tending to the body before we come to find a little bit of stillness. So we're going to find a bit of stillness here, so nice seated position, whatever feels most comfortable for you, whether that's seated cross-legged, which I tend to sit in, but you might want to take your legs out nice and wide, you might want to sit on a seat. And we're going to work at kind of bringing our attention to our heart and our breath. So I really like connecting these two as the heart and breath are both really powerful, very important, both keep us alive, very vital kind of life systems. Don't know why that I struggle to think of that word. So we're going to kind of look to sync them before we start. So I'm going to invite you to bring your left hand to your heart space, maybe almost kind of pushing into your heart and lifting up. So we're holding our heart. And then if it's comfortable for you, we'll place that opposite hand on the belly. If that doesn't feel good, then we can always just place it on the knee, on the thigh, that's fine. And then we're starting to deepen the breath. So kind of elongating the inhale, having a nice mindful exhale out. Hopefully kind of calming the nervous system. If you're not finding it calming, then maybe just stick to your kind of normal breath. Don't worry too much about changing it. But what I will invite you to do is really bring your awareness and your attention to your hands. So as you inhale in, maybe you feel the hand on the belly start to push away and move. And then feel that breath as it moves up to your heart, moves up to your chest. And then notice both the hands kind of deflate on the exhale. Maybe your breath is quite loud, quite audible here, that's all good. But just keeping that breath going for a couple of cycles, finding a rhythm and a pace that feels comfortable for you. So if we can keep the breaths lovely and mindful and long, then that's brilliant. But if that doesn't work for us, then just kind of keeping your normal breath, just keeping your focus on your hands. So we're really feeling into the breath. We're feeling how the body is almost being breathed by the breath. Holding ourselves, holding our breath here. Setting a bit of an intention to keep this lovely quality of breath going as we move today, so through the practice. We're still kind of loosely using this springtime we're experiencing as our theme. So we're thinking about how we kind of balance the light and the darkness, thinking about new perspectives and awakening, and thinking about those seeds that we may want to plant and tend to and water over the next few months. As Molly likes to say, Beyonce is not built in a day. So thinking, what seeds can we plant in our practice, and how can we use our practice to kind of manifest those seeds, set our intentions and grow? How do we become the change that we've been waiting for? One final deep, loving breath in. Exhaling it all out. And then when it's comfortable for you, we'll start to bat open the eyelids, maybe taking the hands back to the knees now. I'm going to remove my blanket. It's time to brave the slightly colder room. And from here, if we haven't already, we're going to start to move into some lovely seated cat-cow. So really starting by pushing back through the shoulder blades, maybe dropping the chin, bringing the chin to the chest. As we inhale, moving our chest forwards and pushing our chest through our shoulders, almost like our shoulders are a little gate. So lots of nice integrity. Moving between those two states. If you're thinking, oh, I just did a load of this before we went to our breathing, then maybe move in a slightly different way. Maybe you want to move the circles, wiggle it side to side. Lovely, guys. Lovely kind of shoulder openings, Brittany. Really nice. Really making the most of the movement. Bringing the heart and the chin in. So as we push through, thinking chest to chin, chin to the sky, opening up. Lovely. And then maybe giving that a little bit of a wiggle. Shaking that one off, shaking through the shoulders. Lovely. From here, I'm going to take my right foot out nice and long, toes facing up. So lots of kind of energy through that leg. I'm bringing my left foot into the thigh, so nice kind of Janu Sushasana shape. I'm very sorry, I'm very nasal today where I'm getting over the cold, even more so than usual. So sorry if I choke a little bit. We're going to bring our right hand, place it inside that leg, and then with the opposite hand, nice big side stretch, reaching out, coming all the way over, nice big movement. Lifting through that elbow, so thinking kind of unfurling as we start to open up in the body. Noticing where you feel this. Are you feeling it in the rib cage, in the arms, in the hamstrings and the calves? Lovely, guys. We're going to bring that top hand down to meet the bottom and then take ourselves for a nice long walk all the way over to the other side, opening out through the rib cage, through the side body on the other side, finding our side stretch here. Really spreading through the fingertips of the hand that's supporting us, pushing up and away from the mat. Lovely, guys, beautiful. As we exhale, we'll come back up to center, wiggling those fingertips down, and then we're going to swap the legs over, so taking our time, using our hands to kind of help us if we want to. Really, and often when I change sides, I have to kind of reshuffle a little bit, finding that kind of connection with the sitting bones. And then nice and gently, we'll take it on to the other side. So again, really reaching out before we come up and over, finding our side stretch on this side. Keeping that breath going, so that lovely long inhales and exhales from the beginning. Oh, we have a new dog I don't recognize on the screen. It's very exciting. He looks excited too. Sorry, back to the yoga. Oh, keeping that breath going. Lovely. And then same as we just did, we'll bring that hand down. Maybe follow that hand with your gaze. So really intentional movement as we walk ourselves over to the other side. And then reaching up on this side, making the most of the stretch, really reaching out through those hands, through those fingertips, lots of lovely energy. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Lovely, guys. Coming back up to center just when we're ready. And then we're going to come over into our tabletops in whatever way feels good for you. Maybe we're bringing the legs in and coming kind of over our ankles. Maybe you want to swing them to the direction that your leg is already out. And then we'll come to do some more cat-cows, so not seated this time. Our standard cat-cows on this side, so setting up nice and strong, grabbing some padding for the knees or the wrists if that feels good. And then when you get here again, just finding some gentle mobility in the spine. So whether that's through our regular cat-cow, kind of dropping the belly, sending the chest through, and then pushing up away from your mat. Maybe you want to dip the hips from side to side. Maybe kind of using your heart space as your center, kind of making a figure of 8 shape. So drawing an 8 with your heart space, that can feel good too. But we've got plenty of time here, plenty of breaths. Moving in whatever way feels nice, but we're just trying to wake up kind of our center, our core. Lovely. Super. And then when you're ready from here, we're going to step the right toes back, starting to lift through the knees. We're going to step the left toes back, lifting through the knees again. Going into our plank. We can drop the knees if we're not quite there yet. Maybe just shift our center forward. Holding here, pushing through the hands, spreading the fingertips nice and wide. Thinking one nice long straight piece. Kind of pushing back through the heels, holding us here. Couple deep breaths, telling yourself, I'm strong, I've got this. And then when you're ready, gracefully and grandly, we're going to send the hips all the way up and back to our downward dog. Lovely, guys. Sinking the belly towards the thighs, taking your time when you get here just to start to pedal through those legs, creating some space in the back of the body, back of the hamstrings, the calves. Catching your breath here. Really enjoying it. Growing the hips up. And then when you're ready, we're going to come towards our Uttanasana, our forward fold. So you can either step, walk, or jump to the front of your mat, or you can walk your hands to the back of your feet. Whichever one feels good for you. Taking our time with it. Coming to our Uttanasana, taking a moment to really bring your awareness to your feet here. So maybe lifting through the balls of the feet, through the toes, bringing your weight into the back of the heels just for a moment so we can then replace our weight, redistribute everything back into our feet. Elevating the hips up towards the sky. Nice and kind of loose and relaxed in the top of the body. And then in your own time, we'll start to push through the feet, energize through the legs, rolling up to our mountain pose, to our Tadasana. Keeping that breath going. Nice and slowly. Rolling the shoulders back when you get to the top. Finding your mountain pose. Lovely, guys. Noticing what it feels like to arrive here. Notice it, giving the body kind of a quick scan. Seeing are there any kind of little niggles, any areas that feel super good and strong today. Noticing where the mind's going whilst we practice. And knowing wherever that is, that's all good. We're not kind of being critical or judgy, we're just noticing. Super. So we're gonna start, before we move into our standing poses, we're gonna start with a few sun salutations, just to get us warmed up. So coming to the front of your mat if we're not there already. Bringing our awareness to the feet, to the toes. With a big inhale, we're going to reach, send the arms all the way up and overhead. Reaching up nice and tall. With an exhale, folding from the hips, bringing our chest all the way down to our Uttanasana. Lovely, guys. When you're ready from here, we're going to inhale, bring your hands to your legs, find your halfway lift, squeezing the shoulder blades back. Exhale, coming back down to Uttanasana. Lovely. Inhaling in, spreading the fingertips nice and wide. You're going to step or jump back to your plank. I'm going to go for the step. And again, you can drop the knees here or come more into your tabletop. Holding it here for a moment. With your next breath, we'll come through Chaturanga. So keeping the elbows pinned in nice and close, bringing the chest down towards the earth. And then pushing up into your cobra. And we can keep it at baby cobra to start if that feels nice, that feels better on the back. Taking a full breath cycle here, nice and strong. As we exhale, tucking the toes under, sending the hips back. Find your downward dog. Catching your breath here. Then with your next breath, stepping or jumping to the front of your mat. Lovely, rolling your way back up nice and slowly. Remembering there's no rush. Take as many full breath cycles as you need on your way up. Lovely. We're going to go through that again. So we're building a bit of heat, bit of energy in the body. I'm going to come and watch you guys this time. But when you're ready, kind of catching that wave of energy, we'll inhale, take the arms all the way up again, nice and tall, big reach. As you exhale, swan diving from the hips, bringing yourself down to your Uttanasana. Lovely. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Option if you'd like to take the arms back behind you like aeroplane arms, pressing kind of against the earth just to feel that kind of opposition force. With an exhale, coming back down to your forward fold, back to your Uttanasana. Lovely. From here, spread your fingertips nice and wide, step or jump back to your plank or your tabletop. Lovely, and when you're ready, nice and strong from the center, we're going to come down towards the earth, whether that's Chaturanga, knees, shin, chest, a controlled belly flop, all good options. With your inhale, opening through the chest, find your cobra or baby cobra. Lovely, guys, keeping those elbows pinned in. As we exhale, we'll tuck the toes under, send the hips up and back, find your downward dog. Lovely, guys. Checking in here. We come to this shape a lot, so it's a good time to check in with the body. Grounding down with the heels and feeling that buoyancy. Now, when you're ready, we're going to walk, step, or jump to the front of your mat, to your Uttanasana. Lovely, guys. Keeping the legs nice and wide if we want to, and then rolling our way back up. We're going to go through that little cycle one last time. So when you get there, seeing if you can catch that wave of energy coming straight back into that big reach up, welcoming in the sun. As we exhale, folding our way down. Finding the forward fold. Lovely. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Option again to have aeroplane arms, or we can place the arms on the shins, on the thighs. Lovely, guys. Exhaling, finding your Uttanasana forward fold. Lovely. And then when you're ready, stepping or jumping back into your plank. Ooh, final plank of this little cycle. Holding it here, connecting to your center, seeing if we can drop that belly in line with our heels, our shoulders. Looking good, guys. And then when you're ready, we'll come on down to the earth. Super, controlling our way down, coming up to our cobra, pushing through the hands. Imagining that I'm pinching you from the back of the neck and I'm lifting you up into your cobra. Feeling the breath in the belly as it pushes against the mat. And then when you're ready, we'll tuck the toes under, push away from the earth, send the hips up and back to your downward dog. Cool, we're going to rest here for a few breaths. Or if you'd like to take a child's pose, we can take the knees nice and wide, bring the ankles together, just drop the hips back. Finding that release and rest there. We will be here for a few breaths. You can do both if you'd like. Lovely, guys, looking good. So feeling into the breath here, finding that kind of buoyancy in your foundations and downward dog. Lovely. And if we're not there already, we're going to bring the knees back down to the earth, so coming towards our tabletop position. And we're going to come towards our Sphinx just for a moment. So you might want to drop your elbows where the wrists are, and then nice and gently walking the knees back just to bring your belly through onto the earth. Super, so almost like our cobra, but we're really pushing kind of up and away from the arms. I'm going to spread my fingertips nice and wide, and then as if I'm trying to kind of almost rip my mat in two pieces, just to kind of shift that energy kind of into my center, into my legs. Keep the breath here. Again, kind of feeling that connection with the mat as we breathe, as the belly and the pelvis kind of push into the earth. I do like a good Sphinx pose, so sorry if I keep us here longer than you would like. But noticing when the mind starts to tell you, oh, I'm bored, I want to move on, what's coming next? Lovely. From here, I'm going to bring my left knee out to almost kind of a 90-degree angle with my hip. So I'm going to bring my right hand in to a diagonal, just so it's kind of across the body, supporting my weight. And then I'm going to bring that knee out just to get a nice little opening in the hip. So I'm keeping this leg at kind of that right angle. So toes are nice and engaged, pointing out. And I'm still going to keep pushing into the mat with my hands. Feeling that kind of opening in the hip. If it feels good for you, maybe you take the gaze behind you. Sorry if you can hear my cat scratching at the door. Couple breaths here. Nice, and we're going to swap those over. So with control, bringing that leg back to your Sphinx. And then we'll take it onto the other side, bringing that left hand across the body if that feels better. And then I'm going to open out through my right hip, find that hip release here. Hip release, hip opener, hip stretch, noticing how that feels in the hip for you. If it is a bit much, then just take the knee back a little bit. It doesn't have to come kind of right in line with the hip. We're getting that kind of external rotation. Lovely, guys, looking good. So from here, I'm going to take the leg back. I'm going to bring my arms back into that Sphinx position, so into those kind of two train tracks, just so they're nice and parallel and they're almost kind of the width of my body. And I'm going to bring the hands together, so interlacing the fingers, making a nice kind of fist shape. I'm going to start to push away into my mat to start kind of opening out in the shoulders, kind of arching through the shoulders here. And then when you're ready, with an exhale, I'm going to tuck my toes under, push away through my forearms, start to lift through the hips, find my forearm plank. And you might find when you get there, you have to kind of walk your toes in a little bit, just so you can find kind of the right kind of feet to arm distance for you. We'll keep pushing through the forearms, pushing away from your mat, so you're really kind of arching through the back. Lovely. We can release at any time, so bringing the knees back down. When we're ready. And then we'll take that one more time. So inhaling in, pushing into the mat, bringing the hips back to your forearm plank. Again, walking the toes in so that we can drop the heels back. So keep pushing through your arms, pushing here. We can stay here in forearm plank, or option if we'd like, to start to send the hips up nice and tall. And then walking the feet in just as far as is comfortable, so you can find your dolphin position. All the time, you want to keep that engagement in the arms and in the shoulders, to keep pushing away. Keep kind of grounding through the feet to find that little bounce, to find that buoyancy. Looking great, guys. Just playing around with it, noticing how it feels to be in this kind of inverted shape. Knowing you can come out of it at any time. I'm obviously not going to keep you there when you don't want to be. And you can play around with kind of walking the feet forward, walking the feet back. Find that kind of comfortable shape for you. Lovely. Feeling nice and strong in the front of the body, really kind of rooting down in the shoulders to rise through the hips. So you're kind of matching that elevation with how much you're grounding. So lots of energy in the shoulders. We're shifting and cultivating lots of energy in your core. And when you're ready, we're all going to bring the knees down, take the knees nice and wide, and then sink the hips back into your child's pose. And you can keep the arms out nice and long for an extended version, or you can bring the hands together into your Anjali Mudra, bring that overhead, finding kind of a bit of a, I quite like this way because you get a bit of a stretch in your triceps, but whichever version feels nicer for you. Lovely, surrendering into the rest here. Opening in the body, expanding into this space. Maybe thinking back to that intention or that seed that we want to plant. Lovely. Super, and when you're ready, we are slowly going to make our way back up to standing. So pushing through the hands, coming back to your tabletop. You come to standing any way you like. You might just want to stand up, or maybe we tuck the toes under, send the hips back, and then take that little walk up to the front of the mat. Super, and as we push through our feet and roll up, really kind of thinking of that kind of arch behind underneath the feet that's filling the legs with energy, sending energy up the body as we roll up and arrive in our mountain pose. Lovely, guys. So we are going to work through a couple standing poses. I'm going to have my bricks on hand just in case there are moments when you might want to bring the ground up to you. Obviously, if you don't have a brick, you can use a book, a cushion, really anything that's just going to kind of bring the ground a bit higher. If you don't have one, we will manage absolutely fine, don't worry. So we're going to start by finding our warrior one shape. So again, finding that connection to the feet, spreading the toes, really kind of pushing into those feet, feeling that kind of space between the arches of the feet and the earth. So cultivating lots of energy. And then we're going to step the left foot back behind to start to come towards our warrior one. So right toes are facing forward, facing the short edge of the mat. I'm going to open out through the right toes just so they're on a little bit more of a 45-degree angle, as it were. But then I'm going to turn myself to face back towards that front knee again. And then with lots of ease, nice and softly and gently, we'll start to bend into that front knee. Meanwhile, really anchoring through that back foot. So we want to keep pushing through both legs. Lovely. Finding that kind of comfortable stance. We don't want to be kind of teetering on a tightrope. Take the legs nice and wide if that means that we've got a little bit of a balance here. And pushing, grounding, anchoring through the legs. Lovely, until we're feeling nice and strong. Finding that position for the knee that's going to enable you to feel nice and supported. So probably basically in line with your ankle. Lovely, breathing into the legs here. Maybe taking a moment with your hands on your hips, really just to puff your chest up, just like, I don't know, in my mind, this is like how men stand and walk around all day long. So really taking that moment just to kind of fake a bit of confidence, fake a bit of energy if it's not there naturally. Sinking, kind of melting into the legs. And then if you'd like to, sorry, I'm a bit coldy. We're going to inhale, take the fingertips all the way up like we're holding a big beach ball up and overhead. reaching for the sky, feeling that kind of shift in energy as we out the arms in. Lovely, guys. We're going to hold it here for a few breaths. I'm just going to come and check. Nice, looking really good. Super. Lovely. Keeping those arms reaching up, making the shape kind of fit your body rather than the other way around. So if there's anywhere we need to kind of back off or find a bit of ease, maybe we straighten through the legs, maybe we bring them a bit closer, whatever it is, to kind of find your edge, find that nice sweet spot between steadiness and ease. And then when you're ready, making the most of the transition, nice graceful movement, we're going to start to cartwheel, open out through the arms, turn the pelvis towards the long edge of your mat, find your warrior two here. Lovely. Again, if we need to take a little adjustment, shuffle of the feet. I know I tend to bring my other foot back a little bit. Super. We're going to keep that energy, keep that fierceness in the arms, keep that kind of sinking into the front knee whilst we anchor through that back leg. So don't let the front leg do all the work for you. Sending your breath, your gaze over that middle finger. Lovely, guys. Couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the arms to the hips. And then I'm going to start to turn over that front leg again. So I'm actually going to step my back leg in slightly because I moved it for my warrior two. We're almost kind of coming back to that warrior one shape. So front knee is bent. Toes are off at a 45-degree angle. Lovely, and we're facing forward. Apologies, I don't feel like my instructions are making any sense. I'm very glad Molly's friend is with Molly. Molly, please explain it properly because words are escaping me this evening. So from here, we've got our kind of warrior one setup. We're going to straighten through that front knee. Oh, that might feel nice if you think we've been folding there for a little while. We're going to stand up nice and tall. So imagining there's a string lifting us up. Chest is shining forward. With an exhale, we'll start to fold from the hips, melt that heart space towards the ground. Nice straight back, nice long spine. And then we'll come to rest the hands either on the earth or maybe on the blocks or the bricks if you have them nearby. Just so that we're not kind of crashing in, kind of reaching if our arms are a little bit shorter. Folding over here, so finding our pyramid pose, our Parsvottanasana. Almost thinking kind of cow belly in this one. So just as we were doing in cow, we're kind of dropping the belly, shining the chest forward. Lovely. If we're feeling nice and strong and confident here, maybe with an exhale, we do start to kind of release and fold over a little bit more, but making sure we're still pushing through both legs. Nice, guys. One more full breath cycle here. When you're ready, nice and strong in the back, we'll bring our hands back to our hips. Big, strong movement. We'll start to push through our feet, lift through our body. Come back up to your warrior one. Well done, guys. And then big step, we're going to step that back foot in to meet the front. Whew, maybe give the legs a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of a shake from here. Super. Now we're going to play around with a quick bit of eagle before we do that on the other side. So from here, standing up nice and tall, I'm going to start to lift through my right knee, finding a bit of a balance. Lots of energy through the toes, so I'm really kind of pushing away from the mat. And then I like to do it on an exhale. With an exhale, I'm going to cross that leg over as I do so, maybe sinking the hips back just kind of an inch or so, not too far, just so you can feel nice and supported and balanced. And again, so you can almost find that bit of like buoyancy as if you're like a jack in the box or something. If you've got the space, maybe you'll wrap the toes around the legs. I certainly can't, so I'm just going to leave it here. I'll come and face you guys so it's a bit easier to see. Sinking the hips back. If this is enough, we're just going to work here, working with that balance, finding that playfulness. If you want to add in the arms, we'll take the arms nice and wide, creating lots of space before we, with the exhale, bring them back towards the body. Take the right elbow underneath the left, wrapping the arms either around each other or just bringing the backs of the palms to me. That is all good. If you feel like you're a twisty little pretzel and you're doing the right thing, regardless of, you know, how many times you are twisting around yourself. Holding it here, feeling that kind of skin to skin connection, lifting through the elbows if we've got the arms involved. Finding that balance, that focus. And then you know means love an eagle / warrior free combo movement. So from here, we're going to uncross the right leg. If we can, in one movement, send it all the way back behind us whilst we bring our eagle arms forward. Come to your warrior free, pushing out through that back heel. If the foot has to drop on the way back, that's all good, don't worry. If we need to release the arms on our way and put them somewhere more comfortable, like maybe on a wall or a chair next to you, that's all good too. It's your movement, so play around with it, play in a way that feels good for you. It was a bit silly of me to eat such a large dinner just before doing this kind of eagle warrior free movements, but that's fine, that's part of the fun, part of the learning. So playing around with that, feeling, embracing that fierceness of the warrior shape. Using the breath to really kind of push out of all corners of the earth. Sorry, just taking a nice cup of tea. And then when you're ready, wherever we are, we're going to bring that back leg back down. Step the back foot in, give those legs a good shake off. Whew, maybe give the arms a shake as well. Shaking it all out. If you didn't feel very kind of silly and childlike in warrior free, then this is the time to embrace that childlike energy. Wiggling through the ankles, the toes, the arms, the legs. And then we're going to do all those shapes again on the other side. Woohoo! If Courtney can remember which side we just did them on. So after all that shaking, all that movement, we're going to come to find stillness again in our mountain pose. So taking a couple breath cycles here to kind of feel that energy, feel that prana moving around your body from the asana and also from that, the shaking up that we just did, allowing everything to settle, allowing everything to ground. Whew. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back to find our warrior one. So I believe you are sending your right leg back this time. If you think you have already done your warrior one on this side, then please swap to the other side, but I think you're taking your right foot back. So same thing again, we're going to kind of melt into that front knee, get that knee to a position where it feels strong, it feels comfortable. We're going to take that back foot out a little bit, just so we're not kind of balancing too much. Take those toes on a 45-degree angle and then really anchor down through that back leg. So both legs are working, both legs are nice and strong. Breathing into the pose here. Nice, strong position. Sending the elbows nice and wide, sending the chest forward. Again, kind of like we did in Cobra, think chest to chin, chin to the sky. And then if it feels good for you, we're going to inhale, take the arms up and overhead, dropping through the shoulders, holding that big beach ball overhead. Cultivating lots of lovely energy here. Take a couple breaths in your warrior one. Notice how it feels. Notice how it feels to kind of root down and rise up. Tending to your intention. And then with your next breath, we're going to inhale, start to open out through the arms, find your warrior two. Adjusting the feet as we need to, but getting that same melting into the front knee, anchoring into the back leg. Finding your warrior two here, reaching through those arms, nice fierceness. Didn't really occur to me we're doing warrior 1, 2, and 3. Ooh. Triple whammy. Lots of energy through the arms, keeping the gaze over middle finger. Opening through the chest, creating lots of space, the space that you rightfully deserve. When you're ready, we'll lower those arms down. We're going to start to twist over that front foot, so adjust the feet as you need to. Probably want those back toes to come facing more towards the front. And then when you're ready, we're going to straighten through that front knee, lift through the heart space, lift through the crown of the head. The nice long back will start to fold over that front leg. I'm going to grab my blocks for this side. But nice strong connection to the center, to your core. As we come to push away from the ground, so pushing away from the earth, nice and strong in the back. You might be getting quite a nice stretch in kind of the hips and the hamstrings. If you're not, then don't worry. Notice where you feel this movement. And then if we're feeling good here, maybe we start to fold, relax that chest, relax the head over the front legs. Coming to release in your pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Feeling into the breath here. Heart and breath open, working together. Nice, so we're going to start to come back up. So nice strong movement in the center. We'll take the hands to the hips, really push through both feet, nice long spine, bringing ourselves back up. Lovely, and then we're going to step that back foot to meet the front. Lovely, give those legs a quick shake off. Well, not even a quick shake off, a regular shake off. Before we come to practice our eagle on the other side. So I think this is where I may have got my left and my right mixed up. But I believe from here, you're going to start to lift through your left knee, so spreading through the toes, just as we always do. So everything's nice and active, nice and engaged. As we exhale, we'll come to cross that leg over the right, sink the hips back just a couple inches or so, till it feels comfortable. Lovely, really bringing everything together, feeling and sensing that connection of limbs. Lovely, then if we're ready to add the arms in, I'm going to come face you. We'll take the arms out nice and wide, lots of lovely space. And then as we cross the arms, opposite arm goes underneath this time. I'm sending my left elbow under the right. I think it's that one because for me, that's the one that feels a bit weird. You might notice that this side you're on now feels a little bit different than it did before. But again, getting that sense of everything drawing inwards. So we created space when we came into our lovely wide warrior twos. When we opened out the arms, now we're bringing that energy, drawing everything back together. Finding that focus. Nice. Super, and then it's time to have a little play around with it. So when we're ready, we're going to uncross that left leg, start to push through the left heel, bringing our chest, bringing our eagle arms forward, finding your eagle / warrior three, holding it here, nice strong connection to your center. So bringing that back foot down at any point. Lovely, guys. Finding what feels good for you. And we don't need to kind of come parallel. There's lots of, sometimes we're like, oh, we want to come parallel, so we're like facing the floor. But actually, we want to think about having that nice length from the tip of the head to the back foot. So if we're only coming as far as here, but we're nice and balanced, nice and strong, then great. A way to work where you're at. So work at the place where you feel balanced, where you feel strong. Hold on to a wall, hold on to a chair if that just You know, take some of the anxiety out of it, helps us feel a little bit more comfortable, and that's all good. Holding it here. Whew, this is really, for me, kind of a full body experience. So noticing where you're feeling in the body. I really feel I'm feeling it just about everywhere. Then when you're ready, we'll come to bring that back foot back to the earth. Unfurling through the arms, and we'll give everything a good shake again. Well done, guys. Whew. Definitely a bit warmer now. Definitely don't need my blanket. That being said, we are going to start to move back down towards the earth. So if you did want to run and grab kind of a pillow or a blanket or anything for Shavasana, now might be the time to do it. I've just had a quick sip of my drink because we are going to start to bring things down towards the earth. So from here, we're going to take the legs nice and wide, kind of turn the feet outwards, the knees are also faced outwards, and we're going to swag our way down to our yogi squat. So taking the hands to the hips, we'll start to drop through the pelvis. I like to take it nice side to side, almost look like one of those Russian dancer things. And then when we get there, when we've finished with our swag, we'll bring the hands down to hold us in our squat. And maybe at that point, we start to walk the feet back in together. So there's no kind of pressure. We don't need to have the feet flat on the earth if that doesn't feel good. Maybe we're up on our tiptoes. Maybe it can be quite nice to put kind of the blocks or the blanket underneath the feet just to take that kind of pressure and angle out. But when we get here, we'll bring the hands together, use those elbows to kind of open up through the knees, through the hips, settling here. So coming back to the breath, noticing where the breath is in the body, having a couple moments of stillness. Again, we're really kind of rooting and grounding down here. So sensing that connection to the earth, sensing your connection to the mat. Pressing down and planting your feet and seeing if that provides you a bit of lightness and buoyancy in the pelvis. Kind of lifting through the arches of your feet as if you're really pulling energy from the ground up into your legs. Drawing that kind of goodness from the earth. Then when you're ready, we're going to take a nice big breaststroke. So I'm going to take the arms all the way out in front of me, come to bring them behind me so I can plop my bum down. Whew. And then maybe from here, we'll just start to drop, melt the knees side to side, just to kind of release some of that tension from our Malasana, our yogi squat. Super. Great. If you find that your bum is moving down the mat, that's okay. That's what mine does too. When we need to, we'll bring ourselves back a little bit. Drop through the knees. Super. And then when you're ready, all together, we're going to take our legs a little bit wider than we normally would. So taking them nice and wide. They don't need to be like doing the splits or anything stupid, but we're just going to, not that splits are stupid, but we don't need to go super wide. We're just going to take them a bit wider than normal. We want to sit up nice and tall on our sit bones because we're going to come into a bit of a fold. So that's quite tricky for you to keep the right length in the back without arching over. Then maybe sit up on a cushion or a blanket just to kind of help with that kind of pelvic tilt. Lovely. And before we come kind of to bring our chest as close to the earth as we can, we're going to take the hands behind us. Really push through the fingers to find a bit of length in the chest as we push away from the earth. And then just start to melt the chest forward, but without taking your fingers off the earth. So we're not kind of forcing ourselves down. We're just kind of feeling that energetic activation in the back body. Maybe you're feeling it in the backs of the legs. We're going to keep the toes facing up to keep them nice and energized, nice and engaged. Cultivating a bit of energy here. Holding it for a few breaths. So it might not look like we're doing a lot, but how does it feel? Keeping those nice, long, mindful breaths, breathing lots of love in, exhaling lots of love out. We can stay here. If this feels nice for us, if we're getting that nice kind of sensation of folding, then we can keep ourselves here with the hands planting into the earth. Or you might like to bring the hands in front, gently walk ourselves forward. So as we do so, melting the heart towards the floor. And maybe that brings us down towards the earth. Maybe that doesn't bring us that much further than we were before, and that's all fine. So just coming to that comfortable position where you can keep the back nice and long. And then I'm going to go nice and quiet for a good minute or so. So we're going to hold this a little bit longer. So if there's anything you want to do, maybe it's kind of bending through the knees just to kind of release the hamstrings a bit. Maybe it's coming up a little bit taller. So it's starting to settle and fold and release here. Lovely, so a little bit of yin there just to bring the energy down. So from here, we're going to root down through the legs as we rise up through the front body, unfurling ourselves back up to seated. Can be quite nice just to bring the knees in, maybe give them a little bit of a hug, making a little love cape here, bringing everything back together, big squeeze. And then as we exhale, we're going to start to come to lie on our back. So if you want to grab anything here, a blanket, a pillow, maybe a pair of socks, something that's going to make your Shavasana feel a bit more cozy when we get there, a bit more supported, then please do grab that now. I'm just going to make a little pillow for my head. And then when you're ready, we'll come to lie on our back. If you want a final little core check-in, then maybe sending the arms out in front of you and then nice and slowly lowering ourselves down. Connecting to our center, our Manipura. And then noticing what it feels like to then just release and relax into the earth. Sending the legs out nice and long. When we get here, maybe bringing the left knee up into the chest, interlacing the fingers around, giving that leg a squeeze into the belly up towards the armpit. Maybe rolling through that ankle. Lovely. Nice and slowly swapping those legs over, so sending the left leg out long, bringing the right knee into the chest. Giving that a good squeeze. Showing our body some love and some gratitude for all those strong movements it's just done for us. Lovely, bringing both knees into the chest now, giving ourselves that final hug. Maybe gently rolling from side to side, give the lower back a bit of a massage. Squeezing the knees in to give the internal organs a bit of a massage. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the legs out nice and long. Releasing the arms to the earth as we do so. Maybe allowing the feet to gently fall out to the side. Noticing if you're kind of clenching or holding on in the arms, just allowing them to release. Maybe tucking the chin slightly to get a bit of length in the back of the neck. Allowing your body to become nice and comfortable. closing your eyes and beginning to pay attention to how your breath flows in and out of the body. Allowing the breath to make you feel wonderful and calm. Imagining that we're breathing in peacefulness. Maybe visualizing the little bubbles of air containing peacefulness and calm as they travel around the body, filling it up. And imagining exhaling anything that's happened in the day that we want to release and let go of. Allowing yourself, your mind, your body to feel relaxed and at ease. Reminding ourselves that we're growing and changing each day, and that's a good thing. We've spent the winter hibernating, tending to ourselves, tending to our needs and nourishing ourselves. Now as spring approaches, we can expect a sense of renewal. As we feel the warmth of the sun on our faces, we can start to grow into the beautiful, bright and proud people that we're becoming. Whether we have new goals or things that we're striving for, or maybe we're just trying to cultivate a bit of peace and a bit of contentedness. Striving to bring out the best in ourselves, to show up for ourselves, and to show up as we truly are. We are the change that we've been waiting for. We are the change we've been waiting for. We are the change we've been waiting for. Just as a flower comes back stronger each and every spring, you do too. So if you'd like to, you're welcome to start bringing a little bit of movement back into the body. Starting to reconnect with your physical body. Maybe starting to roll through the wrists, through the ankles. Maybe you have an instinctual urge to kind of hug everything in, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe your instinct is to take a nice big stretch and a big yawn. There's no kind of right or wrong. But if you did want to end your practice seated this evening, then gently starting to come up towards seated. And as always, there's no rush. I'm not going anywhere. We're all here together. Maybe taking this final few moments in seated, bringing the palms together to our Anjali Mudra. So we're kind of bringing ourselves, back to our home. Thanking ourselves for showing up for ourselves this evening. As we always say, that's always the hardest part. And this Anjali Mudra that allows us to kind of offer up our practice. So whatever that means to you, whether you're offering it to an intention, a person, a spirit, a universe, whatever that is. Maybe you're offering it to yourself, thanking yourself for taking this time for you to be present and to move. Reminding ourselves of that seed that we wanted to plant, of that intention. Taking a moment here to imagine that it is already so. Seeing yourself fulfilling that intention. Holding that in your third eye, in your mind, for a couple final breaths. We'll end our practice by thanking your body, thanking your mind for practicing for you, and thanking each other for showing up for each other this evening. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you very soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Apologies for being even more nasal than usual. And thanks everyone practicing at home. I'm going to end the recording now. Thanks.